Here's your money briefing for Tuesday, August 29th. I'm J.R. Whalen for the Wall Street Journal. Most adults are faced with making good financial choices almost every day, but it turns out there's a particular age when people tend to make their best financial decisions. Wall Street Journal reporter Clare Ansberry reviewed studies conducted by Australia's ARC Centre of Excellence in Population Aging Research, as well as the National University of Singapore, and she joins me now. So Clare, just to make sure we know what we're talking about, what do we mean when we say good financial decision-making?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. But basically, what these two studies are looking at is one of them was looking at what they called financial literacy. And that's basically, your ability to understand what's going on in the markets with investments, real basic things like inflation, pricing, savings. They looked at that and the ability to answer questions about those areas correctly. An earlier study looked at when people make the fewest, meaning least costly, financial mistakes. And they looked at 10 different credit and borrowing areas like home equity lines of credit, mortgage rates, credit card fees, transfers, the age at which they had the fewest financial mistakes.
All right, Claire, enough suspense. At what age do people make the best financial decisions?
Well, the peak age for this is 53 and 54. The theory is that cognitive ability would deteriorate steadily, actually beginning at age 20. And that decline is offset by what they call experiential capital, which is the savvy that grows with experience. And those two lines sort of cross in middle age. And so the younger ages, the lack of experience offsets the analytical ability, but at older ages, the declining cognitive abilities offset experience. Also, it's really important to remember that these are averages, right? 53 and 54 is an average age because, I get a lot of response about what about Warren Buffett? Or, my dad is in his 80s and he's making great financial decisions. It's important to remember that these are all really averages and that every person's going to be different. And, that it also depends upon, you have young people who are pretty savvy and looking at the markets and making fine decisions, but it really depends on the person.
In your story, you write about fluid intelligence versus crystallized intelligence, and that younger people tend to have fluid intelligence, while older people tend to have crystallized intelligence. Well, what does that mean?
Fluid intelligence is the ability to absorb and process new information and compute numbers. It's a lot of math skills, whereas crystallized intelligence is the accumulation of facts and knowledge. And that's the sort of thing that tends to improve with age.
So these studies see 53 and 54 as the sweet spot, but does that mean it's clear sailing once you hit 53? Or are there potential missteps that people in their 50s need to be aware of?
Oh, sure. A lot of different things. But one of them that came out in the study that was people at younger ages underestimate their life expectancy. And that's an issue when you're planning for retirement. And if you are 50 and you say, okay, well, I think I'll live until I'm 76. And so you plan accordingly to have enough money until you reach 76. But the actual life expectancy was 86. Now, this was a survey of Australians, but in the U.S., Americans tend to underestimate their life expectancy as well. So that can be something that people need to be aware of as well.
And to be sure, people also make smart financial decisions outside their 50s, right?
Oh, absolutely. I was talking to one guy who said he had to make mandatory contributions to his 401k savings account. And he looked at his investments and decided, I'm going to go with the higher risk, but higher yield funds, simply because he knew that at a younger age, if there were losses, he would have more time to make up for them.
So what can people do in their 20s, 30s, and 40s to avoid costly missteps?
Deliberately learn. I mean, it's not just a matter of when I have to deal with it, I'll deal with it. You can study, you can read, you can become aware. You can also seek out help. get sound information. Family and friends are great, but seek out help, read. I mean, there's so much information now, but make sure it's from a reliable source too. A lot of companies have investment advisors that can help younger people too.
That's Wall Street Journal reporter Clare Ansberry. And that's it for your Money Briefing. Today's show is produced by Ariana Osperu with Deputy Editor Chris Zinsley. I'm J.R. Whalen for the Wall Street Journal. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Thanks for listening.